Final X was over the weekend, and Flo did such a good job. They have upped production, and they have upped the value of some of that content. And I just thought Final X was a really good display of that. That isn't without a couple of criticisms. But it was really great, wasn't it? I mean, just from a production standpoint, we knew the athletes would deliver. We knew the competition was going to be great. Jordan Burroughs. Jordan Burroughs, even in defeat, might be the best wrestler alive. Like, I can't remember a match that Jordan had. And I of course, am taking out his final match at the Olympics in 2016. That wasn't Jordan Burroughs. But if you take that out, I can't remember a match that I ever saw Jordan in where I didn't go, wow, that guy's good. And that includes the ones where his hand wasn't raised. That includes what happened with Marcel over the weekend. I want to go, God damn, that Jordan is good. Look at him. He's not out there getting tired. He's not slowed down. And see, that's what happens when an athlete has success, or when he gets a little older, or when he's aging, or even when his time is about to expire. You see where he starts to slow down. You start to see reflex. You start to see that grit. How bad does he want it? Can he score when he has to? Those are the kinds of things that start missing. That's just not happening with Jordan Burroughs. Now, there is a bit of a rule that really needs to be observed, which is if you're the top guy and you lose your spot, particularly to a younger guy, if you're a top guy and you lose your spot, you are never getting that spot back. And I'm just watching as I'm observing what's going on with Jordan Burroughs. It's at the same time over in the MMA world with Kamaru Usman. And Kamaru is wondering, what do I do next? I want to stay at 170. And there is always a belief by an athlete, if he's the top guy, I'm coming back, I'm going to get my spot back. They don't ever get it back. It never comes back. But the belief is it has to be here. And if you go and look historically at guys who are the exception to the rule of what I just said, the top guy who gets beat, but he comes back and makes a team, they all do the same thing. Do you know what it is? I'm stalling. Do you know what it is? It is the only thing that Jordan should do. I don't predict for you he's going to do it. I'm buying you some time. This is history talking. This isn't just Chael and Chael's opinion. Historically, I can prove the one way the top guy can lose and come back to the top. Do you know what it is? You change weight classes, but you don't go down. You go up. All the rules are different if you go up. The hardest guy to fight, the hardest guy to wrestle, the hardest guy to box, the hardest guy to grapple is one weight class below you. Jordan Burroughs has never lost to David Taylor, to put that in perspective for you. And they've been some great matches. And please don't think you're going to correct me by telling me what you saw on Flo a year ago. That was a cash grab. That was asked by Taylor. That was agreed to by Flo. The final person to the table was Jordan at a weight class that Jordan never competed in. And by the way, the final score was 4-4. So before you tell me that he lost a match that was designed for him to not win, right? I won't say it was designed for him to lose, but it sure as hell was designed for him not to win. I've got no problem with it. I'm just reminding you, it was 4-4, and I'm not. You call it what you want. I'm not. And to hang in there for Paris and think that you're going to go down 10 pounds, historically is a very bad idea. And once you get there, you're going to run into the world's greatest wrestler. Oh, by the way, you're going to run into Nolf, who you were 1 point with a year ago. Oh, by the way, you're going to cut and drop into the same weight class as the guy that you just had problems with 3 times over the weekend. And I'm not giving a hard time. I'm telling you, historically, the great guys who lose their spot because they don't understand why they lost it. And it will always come down to a physicality. If they ever sit with their coaches and or trainers and or themselves and they're meditating in a room, they will always bring their loss down to a physicality. When every time it's a mentality. And matches have been getting closer and tighter with Jordan Burroughs for 10 years. even when Jordan is whipping somebody's ass, the matches are getting tighter. They're getting tighter and tighter and tighter because the guys are watching him. The guys are studying him. Marsteller, every day since 2012, has planned for Jordan Burroughs. Jordan doesn't even know that. Jordan hasn't planned every day for Marsteller from December of last year. But Marsteller did every single day. He closed his eyes at night. That's who he pictured. Starocci did the same thing. Derringer did the same thing. Whether they met up or not, these guys are planning for him. Kyle Dake did the same thing. Jason Nolf does the same thing. You want to know who has not planned for him at all? You know, who has not studied him? You know, hasn't been in the practice room? You know, who has not discussed what they're going to do when they get on the mat with JB? Anybody at 185 pounds. Nobody. So Jordan is now put in a position of, do I cut weight to go to 74, to go into the ringer where Dake is likely to medal? Dake is likely to sit out. So now you're going to have two hammers. And I likely just told you who they are. It's likely going to be Jason Nolf and Chance Marsteller, maybe not in that order. And if somebody comes in and disrupts it, so it's not Nolf and Marsteller, possibly not in that order, but if somebody disrupts it, just imagine how good that guy is going to be. I mean, right, and that happens in Olympic year. We have guys step forward that do something we didn't know they could do every single cycle. What if it's at that weight class? Or, instead of losing 10 pounds, instead of drawing into murderer's row, instead of going against guys that you're familiar with, but what you don't realize is that they've studied for you every single day. Instead of doing that, you go up to a weight class, which, by the way, if you were to make the team, you are now going to go to the Olympics itself minus the number one seed. I mean, that's what it would mean. If Burroughs could make the team at that's a huge if, but I'm just discussing with you as you're looking at things and you're trying to observe and you're trying to think of what the next move is. There's nowhere in history you can show me a guy that went down. Ever. Zero. But you could show me guys that you thought were done and they came back and they moved up. And moving up would mean going against somebody who he's familiar with, not lost to, in a weight class that's never prepared for him, with a size and a strength that would be very fun and compelling, very interesting, right? He's either got to take 10 pounds of muscle off or he can go and just try to put a few on. And by the way, if you succeed, you will then go to the Olympics and a bracket otherwise, number one seed, will be removed. And Kamaru Usman is in a similar spot. To get what he wants and return to his throne, historically speaking, isn't going to happen. But history would say otherwise. If he learned the secret, right? It's this great secret that happens right in front of you, but it's an American phenomenon. If I do good at 79, I do great at 74. No. You did okay at 79, you got no chance at 74, but you could be the guy at 85. That's how it works.